Want to have your clip featured in the Skyrim Clip of the Week? Simply record the clip on your Xbox and then send it to me via message. My gamertag is iRyeni, that's IRYENI, and then you can message it to me over Xbox and I'll be able to view it. I look forward to seeing the clips that you guys send me. Now moving on to the video. Hey, what's up guys, it's Ryan and welcome back to another episode of Modded Monday. We're on week number 167 now, guys. I've picked out 5 new mods for you guys to check out and perhaps add them to your load order if you find them interesting. So let's just jump straight into it. Starting off at our number 5 spot, we have the More Dialogue Options mod. Now this mod does exactly what you may think. It just adds more dialogue options to the various conversations that could use some improvements. These options are meant to feel as if they were in the game all along, and these responses are all voiced and were made by editing the game's voice files. So it's not like it's going to sound out of place. It's also important to note that this mod requires the Misc Dialogue Edits mod, which is a mod that changes the entire dialogue system when it comes to vendors and dragons, as well as many fixes in some of the areas that wouldn't really make sense based on what type of character you have. For example, the changes for the vendors, it says that sometimes vendors and court wizards assume the skills and interests of your character by saying something like, "Oh, so you're an alchemist then," which can become rather annoying. Depending on your character and the amount of roleplay you do while playing, that kind of bothers some people. So this mod changes it so they don't always say that you wish to master the arcane arts, they simply will just sell things to you regularly like you're a normal NPC. And like I said, the dialogue involving dragons has also been changed, and this was mostly because of the alternate start mod. You know, whenever you use the alternate start mod and you go to an area that's not the vanilla start, none of the dragons will spawn in the game or even be existing in Skyrim until you travel to Helgen for the first time. However, if you use one of these alternate starts, you would then begin to hear people around the world still talk about the dragons, even though they haven't popped up yet. This mod changes it so that people will no longer talk about dragons until after you travel to Helgen. But now moving back to the More Dialogue Options mod, it changes several different conversations of people that were in the game, such as Ayla the Huntress, which I'm showing you right now. Right after the dragons attack at Pelagia Farm, you have no choice but to either insult her work or show interest in joining the companions. This kind of ruins a little bit of roleplay aspects because you can't really choose to be neutral. This mod adds a new option at the end of the conversation with a more neutral line of dialogue that'll allow her to answer politely without suggesting you to join. These types of changes are found in many different characters throughout the game, such as Maul whenever you enter Riften for the first time. The first conversation always felt a bit strange because he shifts the conversation from insulting you and intimidating you over to a subject into asking for work. This mod just makes a small tweak on the conversation just so it makes more sense and doesn't shift the subject right away. Some more examples include Brunwolf inside of Windhelm whenever he asks you if you're one of the Skyrim or the Nord types. You can now answer something like, "Do I look like one?" which is a more neutral area in between the other options that you had before. The last example that I have here is the young captain of the Sea Squall, which is named Captain Wayfinder. He's found in Dawnstar. The quest that you get from him is pretty abrupt, so this mod changes it so the dialogue and actually getting the quest is a lot better and more realistic. Now these examples just scratch the surface on what's actually included in the More Dialogue Options mod and Misc Dialogue Edits mod, that it's almost impossible to cover everything that changes in one video. There's so many different changes and more opportunities of roleplay as well as different types of characters interacting with you, and it just gives you more of a choice on what you're actually saying as your character, and that's why I really like it, and that's why it comes in at our number 5 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading the More Dialogue Options and the Misc Dialogue Edits mod. Coming in at our number 4 spot, we have the Skytoxin-Realistic Dangerous Poisons mod. Now the mod page reads that Skytoxin alters the default potions and poisons in the game, the ones that you can find and buy in most shops, and most of the potions also have negative side effects now. Poisons are also very powerful but expensive and limited in numbers, so you can't keep spamming them. And the mod author goes on to talk about how the vanilla potions are way too easy to use and the poisons are way too weak, which is exactly true because I always find myself selling all my potions and poisons and never actually using them, not even the health potions either. And Skytoxin's poisons are something that you truly need to fear now, and nearly all potions will come with side effects, just like real medicine. But it's important to note that Skytoxin doesn't touch the alchemy skill tree at all, and almost no changes have been made to the ingredients, so it's very compatible with other alchemy mods that you may have alongside it. The things that you brew yourself will naturally have side effects if you mix it wrong, and Skytoxin mainly puts focus on the default potions and poisons. With very few exceptions, every potion will come with penalties. Just like in real life, consuming medicine will result in side effects. The more powerful the potion, the more side effects will hurt. Most of the poisons have also been renamed after their real-life toxins, which you can see in my menu here, or based on some sort of system that sounded viable and lore-friendly as such. Potions that damage health will be far more potent than necessary in order to take out a victim. Now we know all about the poisons, but what about the potions? What kind of side effects can we expect here? Well, for example, using potions to restore health will be rather exhausting, and thus drain stamina. Potions that fortify health will do so to a much greater altitude than in the vanilla game, but will be useful in short term. However, they will have negative effects long term as they slowly drain the user's health over time. Using potions to restore stamina one way or another will take a toll on someone's health. So if you're looking for a more realistic yet brutal experience whenever it comes to potions and poisons in the game, then the Skytoxin-Realistic Dangerous Poisons is definitely the mod to check out. And that's why it's featured here at our number 4 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading it. Coming in at our number 3 spot, we have the Hunter's Carved Arsenal. Now this mod adds a few new weapons to the game that you can craft under the Ebony category as soon as you have the needed materials and the Steel Smithing perk unlocked. All of those weapons share the same theme, which is a carved ornament of a deer and other hunter-like motifs, and here's what you get in the detail. There's a large bow without any attachments, there's a light bow with a quiver attached to it, as well as a large bow with a sight and a quiver on it. There's also matching arrows and a one-handed sword with a matching scabbard, as well as a dagger and a one-handed boarding axe. The damage values are the same as Ebony weapons, so you can use them to the end basically. Now I'm a big fan of weapon mods that actually have a theme to it instead of just adding a random assortment of weapons into the game. All of the weapons featured in this mod are very unique yet share the same theme, and as you can see as I'm showing off them here, I really love what the one-handed boarding axe looks like. It just looks incredibly badass, and that's one of my favorites out of this mod. And since they do around the same damage as the Ebony weapons in the game, it's definitely a mod worth checking out if you're role-playing as a hunter, because you can be more involved in your role, having your hunter's sight and hunter's quiver, as well as all the different weapons at your disposal. And that's why I really like the mod, and that's why it's featured here at our number 3 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading the Hunter's Carved Arsenal mod. Coming in at our number 2 spot, we have another weapon mod called Nicoroshi Creations. Now this is a combined collection of Nicoroshi's weapons, excluding some Nexus exclusives, and it contains the Doom Shard, the Dreamweave Axes, Nico's Gift, the Obsidian Axe, the Talon of Akatosh, the Bow of Dro, Wormfang, Further Brotherhood daggers, Nico's Raven swords, and several other badass looking weapons into the game. It also includes more bows as well, such as Toriel's bows and arrows, and the daggers that go along with it, as well as the Lothlorien bow and the Quinga bow. No matter what your character build is or what type of roleplay aspect you're going with, the Nicoroshi Creations mod will definitely have a weapon that suits your needs. And with it adding around 20 new weapons into the game, coming in at 60.26 megabytes, all of these weapons have really high quality textures, so it's definitely a pack that's worth downloading, especially because a lot of weapon mods that I see that just focus on one weapon end up coming out to be really high in megabytes, but with this mod adding so many new weapons into the game at such a small space, it's definitely a mod that you can't pass up, and that's why it's here at our number 2 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading the Nicoroshi Creations and trying out some of these weapons in your playthroughs. Coming in at our number 1 spot, we have the Cities of the North Winterhold mod. Now I love the Cities of the North series. I was a real big fan of Dawnstar and how they changed up that city, so I just had to check out the Winterhold version. The mod page reads that this mod seeks to give Winterhold its own unique visual identity by using custom tile sets and models for all of the buildings. This project aims to stay close to vanilla and be as compatible with other mods as possible. The idea is that you can use any of your favorite overhauls or combination of, and then install this mod with the necessary patch and give this unique architectural style to the version of the city you prefer. It's also advised by the mod author to use this on a new save to avoid any remnants of objects being left over from vanilla. Now my favorite part about the Cities of the North series is that it changes everything about the city, and not just one specific area or just the exterior. It focuses on the exterior, the interior, all of the lighting. It changes literally everything about the city, completely reimagining Winterhold as a whole. Now as you can see, this mod changes pretty much everything about Winterhold, and I'm a really big fan of how it goes up the hill and goes across the bridge to a new building that wasn't in the game before. I think it looks perfect, and it's a perfect area for the building. And the way that the city was still made to be lore friendly, because there's still burned down buildings and still destroyed buildings in Winterhold, because that's how the city is, just goes to show that the mod author took a lot of time and consideration in this mod, and it'll fit perfectly alongside your other city overhauls in your load order. And it's very lightweight, coming in at 20.41 megabytes, so that's definitely why the Cities of the North Winterhold mod comes in at our number 1 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading it. So that's pretty much it for this week's episode of the top 5 Skyrim mods of the week. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and if you did, I'd appreciate it if you left a like and subscribe if you're new. It really helps me out a lot. And if you have any suggestions for mods you'd like me to cover in future top 5 mod episodes, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. Or you can follow me on Twitter. I'll be sure to leave my Twitter in the description, and you guys can follow me on there and leave me suggestions there as well. Special shout out to my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys have done for me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I will talk to you guys later.